CIET NCERT presents the audiobook Curiosity, Textbook of Science for Class 6.
Chapter 12 Beyond Earth, page 231. On the center of the page is the image of Nubra Valley in Ladakh, India. In the image, the famous double-humped camels are walking through the mountains. Nubra is a beautiful region in Ladakh. An 11-year-old girl, Young Doll, and her twin brother, Dorje, live in one of the villages of this region. They love their surroundings, the majestic mountain peaks and the glaciers. But their favorite is the night sky, when the entire sky is lit up with thousands of stars. On the bottom of the page is the image of the beauty of the night sky from a very dark location in Ladakh, India. The weather in Nubra is almost cloudless. With almost no air or light pollution, the night sky is very clearly visible. Night after night, Young Doll and Dorje observe the stars and experience an immense sense of awe. Page 232. Growing up, Young Doll and Dorje have been hearing interesting stories about stars from their elders. They have heard how some particular stars in the clear skies helped the caravans passing through Nubra in finding direction in the ancient days. They wonder how far away and how big the stars are. They also enjoy trying to find some patterns among the stars that remind them of familiar objects. Have you ever looked at the stars in the night sky and tried to connect them with imaginary lines, just like dots and lines in a drawing? Activity 12.1. Let us draw. 1. On the left side of the page is the image of a part of a night sky. In the image, there are bright stars in one part of the night sky. 2. Look at the image and try to imagine a pattern formed by the group of stars. The image given on the left side of the page helps us understand that there is a pattern formed by a group of stars. 3. Draw lines to connect the stars and make the pattern. 4. Think of an animal or an object that is similar to the pattern drawn by you. Write its name near your pattern. 5. Repeat the above steps and make some more patterns. 6. Now think of an interesting story about your patterns. Compare your patterns with the patterns drawn by your friends. Are the patterns same or different? Narrate your story to others and listen to their stories. Do you notice that everyone's patterns, name and stories are different? Is it not fun? Page 233. Section 12.1. Stars and Constellations. On the right side of the page, Young Doll is asking a question. Do we find patterns among the stars just for fun, or is there some use of these patterns? At night, when we look up at the sky, we see many stars. Some stars are bright and others are dim. Stars shine with their own light. Some groups of stars appear to form patterns which are like shapes of familiar things. Long ago, when watching stars in the night sky was a favorite pastime of our ancestors, they identified these star patterns with animals, things, or characters in stories. Many cultures had names for patterns based on their own stories. These imaginary shapes helped them in recognizing stars in the sky. Recognizing stars and their patterns was a useful skill for navigation in the olden times. Before the arrival of modern technology, or even before the invention of the magnetic compass, it helped people, particularly sailors and travelers, in finding directions at sea or on land. It is still used in emergencies as a backup method. In earlier times, groups of stars forming patterns were called constellations. Currently, The regions of sky which include these groups of stars are defined as constellations. However, since in constellations the patterns of stars are often the most prominent, the term constellation is still commonly used for these groups of stars. On the middle of the page is a box with the title More to Know. In this box, it is written, since different cultures denoted the constellation boundaries in different ways, an internationally agreed set of constellation boundaries were defined by the International Astronomical Union (IAU) in the early 20th century. 88 constellations were officially listed, thus dividing the entire sky into 88 regions. These regions of sky are now defined as constellations. In constellations, the stars are joined by imaginary lines drawn for easy identification. The constellation of Orion is often represented as a hunter. There are 3 stars in the middle which represent the belt of the hunter. Some people imagine that the hunter Orion, followed by his dog, constellation Canis Major, is battling a bull, constellation Taurus. Canis Major contains a star called Sirius, which is the brightest star in the night sky. Page 234. On the top of the page is an image showing some constellations and stars like Canis Major, Sirius, Orion, and Taurus. On the bottom of the page is a box with the title More to Know. In the box it is written, in Indian astronomy, the term nakshatra is used to denote either a certain star or a group of stars, such as Ardhara, a star called Betelgeuse in the Orion constellation, and Kritika, a group of stars in the Pleiades in the Taurus constellation. Aldebaran, a star in the constellation Taurus, is known as Rohini. Page 235. Two distinct patterns of stars, the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper, are shown on the left side of the page. The pole star or Polaris, which is a part of the Little Dipper, is also shown on the left side of the page. The pole star appears stationary in the north direction, which helps us locate the north direction in the northern hemisphere. On the middle of the page is a box with the title More to Know. The box tells us the Big Dipper lies in the constellation Ursa Major, while the Little Dipper lies in the constellation Ursa Minor. In India, the Big Dipper is known as Saptarishi and the pole star is known as Dhruv Tara. On the right side of the page, Dorje is asking a question. How can we identify some of these constellations in the night sky? On the bottom of the page is a box with the title, Do You Know? It tells us, apart from common regional stories associated with stars in the constellations, many forest-dwelling communities or tribes of India also have their own stories about them. For example, the 4 stars in the Big Dipper that approximately form a rectangle are viewed by tribes in central India as the grandmother Scott, with the 3 thieves, the other 3 stars, stealing it. Fishermen along the Konkan coast imagine the 4 stars as a boat, with the last 3 stars as the neck of the boat. Page 236, Section 12.2, Night Sky Watching. If it is a clear, cloudless night, a large number of stars may be visible in the sky. If you stay in a big city, you may find that the night sky is rarely clear and only a few stars are seen in the night sky. This is due to light pollution, smoke and dust. The presence of excessive artificial light at night time is referred to as light pollution. In villages or areas where there is less light pollution, a large number of stars can be seen. Also, your house may be surrounded by tall buildings and trees, which may block your view. The night sky is best viewed from an open, dark area. On the middle of the page is a box with the title, Do You Know? The box says, light pollution is growing sharply globally. This is reducing our ability to enjoy and study objects in the night sky. Some dark sky reserves and parks have been established around the world. Light pollution in these reserves is controlled to preserve dark skies for research. There are a few organizations which are working to educate people about reducing light pollution. On the bottom left of the page, young Dole is asking a question. Can we try to find any constellation or star of our choice on any night from our location? Not all stars and constellations are visible from all places on Earth and on all nights in a year. For example, the pole star is not visible from the southern hemisphere of Earth. To identify a star or a constellation, you need to know how a particular constellation looks like and where to look for it in the night sky. To find out when and in which portion of the sky a star or a constellation will be visible from your location, you may take the help of sky mapping apps that can be downloaded on a mobile phone or other online resources. On the bottom of the page is a box with the title More to Know. The box says, Sky Map is a very handy app for identification of stars, constellations, and planets from mobile phones. Stellarium is another such app. The computer version of Stellarium is free for download and has many features. Page 237. Preparation for night sky watching. 1. Under the guidance of adults, identify a dark open area for night sky watching. They should be away from lights, tall buildings, and trees. 2. Choose the date and time based upon what you plan to identify in the night sky. 3. Choose a moonless night with no clouds, particularly for the pole star, which is not very bright. It may be useful to have access to a mobile app with Sky Map or a printout of the images of the constellations you plan to view. You may also carry a magnetic compass to find directions and a notebook to note or draw your observations. 5. On the particular day and time selected, go to the identified place with an adult where the night sky watching is to be done. After reaching there, wait for about half an hour for your eyes to get adjusted to the darkness. This will help you see the night sky better. At the bottom of the page is the image of children and adults watching the night sky. On the right side of the page is a cautionary box that says, do not go to a dark open place at night time without adults accompanying you. You may easily identify the Big Dipper and Pole Star in the night sky. Page 238. Activity 12.2. Let us try to locate. 1. Look for the Big Dipper during summertime in the early part of the night, say around 9 p.m. View the sky above the horizon towards the northern part of the sky and identify the Big Dipper. 2. Once you identify the Big Dipper, try to locate the pole star. Look at the two stars present in the end of the Big Dipper's cup and imagine a straight line passing through these towards the north. At about 5 times the distance between these two stars, the imaginary line will lead to another star, which is not very bright. This star is the pole star. You may also locate the bright constellation Orion and the star Sirius in the night sky. Activity 12.3. Let us try to identify. 1. In India, Orion is best viewed during the months of December to April after sunset. So, look for it during that period. 2. Three bright stars in a short straight line are located around the middle of Orion, imagined to be the belt of a hunter. Identify these three stars first, as this is the easiest way to find Orion. 3. Once you identify Orion, it is very easy to locate the very bright star Sirius, which is located close to Orion. Imagine a straight line passing through the three middle stars of Orion and look along this line towards the east. This will lead us to Sirius. On the bottom left of the page, Dorje is asking a question. Which star is closest to us? Section 12.3. Our solar system. The Sun. The Sun is a star. It is the star closest to us. It is an extremely hot spherical ball of gases. The Sun gives out a huge amount of energy, and that is why it glows so brightly. Page 239. The Sun produces heat and light and is the main source of energy on the Earth. On the top of the page is an image of this rising sun. How big is the Sun? How big is the Sun? It is about 100 times bigger than the Earth in diameter. And still it looks so small because it is very far from the Earth. On the middle of the page is a box with the title, More to Know. The box says, the distance of the Sun from the Earth is about 150 million kilometers. A useful unit for expressing distance within solar system is astronomical unit, AU, which is approximately the distance between the Sun and the Earth. The Sun, being the brightest object and the source of light and heat on Earth, was elevated in most ancient civilizations to the status of a deity. In India, the Sun is worshipped as Surya. The heat provided by the Sun keeps the Earth at a temperature that makes life possible. Sunlight is essential for plants to grow, which provide food and oxygen to animals, including humans. The Sun is responsible for climate, seasons, weather, water cycle, winds, all of which are important for sustaining life on Earth. On the right side of the page, Young Doll is asking a question. Our Sun is also a star. So how is it that the Sun appears big and lights up the sky while the other stars look like bright dots in the night sky and are not even visible during the daytime? However, the Sun is much closer to us than the other stars. Hence, it appears much bigger than the stars. As the stars other than the Sun are much farther away, they appear like points even though some of the stars are much bigger than our Sun. Page 240. During daytime, due to the extreme brightness of the Sun, it is not possible to view the other stars. On the top of the page is a box with the title, More to Know. The star nearest to us after the Sun is Proxima Centauri, which lies at a distance of about 269,000 astronomical units. This means that the distance is about 269,000 times our distance to the Sun. On the left side of the page, Dorje is asking a question. Are stars the only objects in the sky, or are there more objects which we may have not noticed? There are many more objects in the sky. Our Earth, along with some of these objects and the Sun, together form our solar system. Most of these objects move around the Sun. The movement of an object around the Sun is called revolution. Planets. A planet is a large, nearly spherical object that revolves around the Sun. Our Earth is a planet as it revolves around the Sun. The Earth nearly takes 1 year to complete one revolution. Like the Earth, there are other planets that revolve around the Sun. On the bottom of the page is a box with the title More to Know. The box says, while revolving around the Sun, the Earth is also rotating about its axis. For one full rotation, the Earth takes about 24 hours, which is called a day. Like the Earth, other planets also rotate about their axis while revolving around the Sun. You will learn more about this in the next grade. Page 241. On the top of the page is the image of an artist's representation of the solar system. In this image, the asteroid belt, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune are depicted. To fit this figure within this page, the sizes and distances of various objects are not as per their actual sizes and distances in relation to each other. That is, the sizes and distances are not to scale in the figure. The 8 planets in order of their increasing distance from the Sun are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. The inner 4 planets nearest to the Sun are Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars, are smaller in size. They have solid surfaces with rocks on them. On the bottom of the page is a box with the title More to Know. From ancient times, various names have been used across India for the planets visible to the naked eye. For example, Buddha, Mercury, Shukra, Venus, Prithvi, Earth, Mangala, Mars, Brihaspati or Guru, Jupiter, and Shani, Saturn. Page 242. Venus is usually seen shining brightly at dawn and dusk and is commonly called the morning star or the evening star, even though it is not a star. Mars is called the red planet because it appears red. This is because the soil on Mars is reddish in color. A large portion of the Earth's surface is covered with water and thus it appears blue from the space. Due to this, the Earth is also called the blue planet. The 4 outermost planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, are much larger compared to the Earth and are mostly made of gases. These giant gaseous planets have large, flat, ring-like structures around them which are made up of dust particles and rocky material. Planets get most of their energy from the Sun. So the farther they are, the colder they are in general. The presence of an atmosphere on a planet can trap heat, which can significantly change the temperature of a planet. That is why Venus, for example, is hotter than Mercury, although it is farther from the Sun. On the bottom of the page is a box with the title More to Know. The box says, there is another object called Pluto that lies farther than Neptune and revolves around the Sun. It is smaller than Earth's moon. When it was discovered, it was called a planet of the solar system. But later, when similar more small objects were discovered, the International Astronomical Union (IAU) in 2006 redefined the requirements of an object to be called a planet. As per this definition, these smaller objects, including Pluto, are now called dwarf planets. On the left side of the page, Young Doll is asking a question. Can we identify a planet also the way we identify the constellations? Among the planets, it is easiest to identify Venus, which is very bright. After the Sun and the Moon, Venus is the brightest object in the sky. Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn can also be seen with the naked eye. They are so far away that they look like shining dots, just like stars. Page 243. So, how can we distinguish between planets and the stars? Unlike planets, the stars appear to twinkle a lot. Activity 12.4. Let us try to identify. 1. For most of the year, Venus can be located either at dawn or at dusk. 2. When you are viewing at dawn, look for it near the eastern direction before sunrise. 3. When you are viewing it at dusk, look for it near the western direction after sunset. On the right side of the page, Dorje is asking a question. How can we see planets which are not visible to the naked eye? While many of the objects in the sky can be seen with our naked eyes directly, we can see them brighter and larger using a pair of binoculars or an instrument called telescope. A telescope also helps us view many dim objects not visible with our naked eyes directly. On the right side of the page is an image of a telescope. You may get an opportunity to view the sky through a telescope whenever a night sky watching event is organized in your region. On the bottom right of the page, Young Doll is asking a question. We know that planets move around the sun. Are there any objects that move around planets? On the bottom of the page is a box with the title, Do You Know? Many higher education institutions conduct night sky watching activities for school students. There are many amateur astronomy clubs all over the country which organize sky watching events periodically. Museums and planetariums also organize similar events. Page 244. Natural satellites. Objects that move around planets are commonly called satellites. They are smaller in size than planets. Moons are natural satellites of planets. The Earth has one moon, while Mars has two moons. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune have a large number of moons. On the left side of the page is a box with the title More to Know. The box says, in general, any object that moves around a much larger object can also be called a satellite. For example, Earth can be considered a satellite of the Sun. The Moon is about 384,000 kilometers away from the Earth. The Moon. Earth's natural satellite, the Moon, takes about 27 days to complete one revolution around the Earth. It is our nearest neighbor in the space. Unlike on Earth, there is hardly any atmosphere on the Moon. How big is the Moon as compared to the Earth? The Moon is about quarter the size of the Earth in diameter. The Moon's surface shows circular, bowl-like structures called craters. Most of these craters have been formed due to the impact of asteroids or rocks from the space hitting the Moon's surface. Since there is no atmosphere, water, or life on Moon, these features stay on the Moon's surface for a very long time. On the bottom of the page are two images of the Moon. The first one was taken by Cartosat, ISRO, and the second image is a close-up image taken by cameras aboard Chandrayaan-3 of ISRO. Page 245. Although the Moon is very far, humans have sent spacecrafts to explore and understand more about the Moon. India has also launched 3 Chandrayaan missions to study the Moon, and a further mission is being planned. On the center of the page is a box with the title, Do You Know? The box says, to improve our understanding of the Moon, India's first mission to the Moon, Chandrayaan-1, was launched in 2008, and the second mission, Chandrayaan-2, in 2019. The third mission, Chandrayaan-3, was launched in July 2023, and its Vikram lander carrying the Pragyan rover successfully soft landed on the moon on August 23, 2023. With this mission, India became the first country in the world to achieve a landing near the little explored moon's south pole. To mark this success, the Government of India declared 23rd August to be celebrated as National Space Day in India. A fourth mission, Chandrayaan 4, is being planned, which aims to bring back soil and rock samples from the moon. Asteroids. The Sun and the planets are nearly spherical in shape. There are many small objects in the solar system which are rocky and irregular in shape. These are called asteroids. Many of these asteroids revolve around the Sun in the paths that lie between those of Mars and Jupiter. This region is called the asteroid belt. On the bottom of the page is a box with the title More to Know. The box says the size of asteroids are from 10 meters to about 500 kilometers. Occasionally, asteroids pass very close to the Earth. Comets. Sometimes we have visitors from outer regions of the solar system. These objects with long tails are called comets. They are made up of dust, gases, rocks, and ice. As a comet approaches close to the Sun, the frozen material in it starts evaporating. This evaporating material forms the tail of the comet. Page 246. Comets appear dim as they move far away from the Sun, and then it is not possible to see them with the naked eye. Many comets have been found that revolve around the Sun. These comets approach close to the Sun periodically. However, there are few comets that escape and move out of the solar system. Few other comets get broken up or fall into the Sun or other planets when they approach them. On the left side of the page is the image of a comet. There is also a box with the title More to Know. The box says, one famous comet is the Halley's Comet, which appears every 76 years. Its last appearance was in 1986. In Sanskrit and a few other Indian languages, a comet is called Dhumketu. Various tribes in India also call it Puchya Taro, star with a tail, or Zindya Taro, star like a flag. In many cultures, comets have been feared, and it was earlier believed that comets bring bad luck. However, thanks to the scientists, we now know that these are just icy, rocky visitors making a trip close to the Sun. We have learnt about we have learnt about the objects which form the solar system. Which are these objects? The Sun, the 8 planets, their moons, and many smaller objects, including asteroids and comets, together form the solar system. The Sun, our star, is the largest and the heaviest object in the solar system. The Sun produces almost all the energy in the solar system. All other objects in our solar system shine due to the sunlight that they reflect from their surfaces. On the bottom of the page, Dorje is asking a question. What is beyond the solar system? Page 247, section 12.4, the Milky Way Galaxy. In the moonless night sky, viewed from dark locations away from city lights, one can see an extended faint band of light from near north to south across the sky. This is our home galaxy called the Milky Way Galaxy or Akash Ganga. A galaxy has millions to billions of stars. Our solar system is a part of the Milky Way Galaxy. At the middle of the page is the image of Milky Way Galaxy as seen from a very dark location in Ladakh, India. Section 12.5, The Universe. On the right side of the page, Youngdahl and Dorje are asking a question each. Youngdahl says, "What is beyond the Milky Way galaxy?" Dorje is asking, "Is there life anywhere else in the universe?" There are many galaxies in the outer space beyond the Milky Way galaxy. Scientists study them to understand the stars, galaxies, and the universe. We do not know yet if life exists elsewhere in the universe. The search for life has been directed mostly towards exoplanets, the planets discovered revolving around other stars in our galaxy. Till now, scientists have not found any evidence of life, but the search is still on and continuing. Page 248. Keywords in this chapter: asteroid, comet, constellation, Milky Way galaxy, moon, planet, revolution, satellite, solar system, stars, sun. Draw, explore, identify, observe. Summary and key points. 1. The sky is divided into regions called constellations, which include groups of stars that appear to form a pattern. 2. The pole star appears stationary in the north direction, which helps in locating the north direction in the northern hemisphere. 3. The sun is a star which produces heat and light. 4. A planet is a large, nearly spherical object that revolves around the sun. Page 249. 5. The 8 planets in order of their increasing distance from the sun are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. 6. The Earth revolves around the sun in nearly 1 year. 7. Objects that move around planets are commonly called satellites. 8. The moon is Earth's natural satellite. 9. The moon revolves around the Earth in nearly 27 days. 10. The sun, the 8 planets, the moons, and many smaller objects, including asteroids and comets, together form the solar system. 11. Our solar system is a part of the Milky Way galaxy. Let us enhance our learning. Question 1. Match the column. Column 1, row 1, satellite of Earth, row 2, red planet, row 3, constellation, row 4, planet, which is commonly called an evening star. Column 2, row 1, Orion, row 2, Venus, row 3, Mars, row 4, Moon. Question 2, part 1. Solve the following riddle. My first alphabet is in man, but not in can. My second alphabet is in ace and also in fan. My third alphabet is in rat and not in cat. My fourth alphabet is in sun but not in fun. I am a planet that moves around the sun. 2. Make 2 similar riddles by yourself. Question 3. Which of the following is not a member of our solar system? Option 1, Sirius. Option 2, comets. Option 3, asteroids. Option 4, Pluto. Page 250. Question 4. Which of the following is not a planet of the sun? Option 1, Jupiter. Option 2, Pluto. Option 3, Neptune. Option 4, Saturn. Question 5. Which is the brightest star, the pole star or Sirius? Question 6. An artist's representation of the solar system is given. Is the order of the planets correct? If not, write the correct order of the planets in the box given below. Question 7. A portion of the night sky with stars is shown. Look carefully and identify the group of stars that form a pattern, the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. Draw lines to connect the stars for these patterns and label them. Also identify and label the pole star. Page 251. Question 8. A portion of the night sky is shown. Draw lines to connect the stars for Orion and label the star Sirius. Question 9. You can see stars fading away at dawn and appearing at dusk. During the day, we do not see the stars. Explain why. Question 10. During a clear night, try to observe the Big Dipper 3 to 4 times at an interval of 2 to 3 hours. Also, try to locate the pole star each time. Does the Big Dipper appear to move? Draw a rough sketch to illustrate this, mentioning the time in each case. Question 11. Think about the night sky and write a poem or a story on it. Learning further. 1. Try to find out the names of planets in your local language. Also, find out the stories associated with stars and constellations in your region. Present these stories in a pictorial form. 2. If there is a planetarium or a science museum nearby, then you can visit it, especially if a night sky observation session is scheduled by them. You will get to see the moon, the planets, and the stars through a telescope. If you visit the planetarium during daytime, you can also see their models, pictures, and sky shows. Page 252. 3. Find out if the increasing light pollution is causing problems for humans, wildlife, and the environment. Write an action that you would take at a personal level to control light pollution. 4. Find out the weather conditions due to which the Indian Institute of Astrophysics (IIA) found Henley, Ladakh a suitable place to set up an observatory. 5. If you enjoy doing embroidery, try to embroider on a dark-colored cloth the constellations that you have seen. Otherwise, you may use your creativity and depict constellations in multiple other ways using art and craft ideas. On the right side of the page is an image of embroidery of constellations. At the bottom of the page, there is a box that says More to Know. The box tells us Indian Astronomical Observatory, Henley, is situated atop the highest peak of Digparastari mountain range in Henley. This peak has been renamed Mount Saraswati. It has several telescopes. One of them is called the Himalayan Chandra Telescope, which has been named after the Nobel Prize-winning scientist Subramaniam Chandrasekhar. It is an observatory on one of the highest locations of the world. The area surrounding this observatory was notified as the Henley Dark Sky Reserve (HDSR) in December 2022. The reserve is open to public throughout the year. Local people have been provided with small telescopes and are trained to be astronomy ambassadors for visitors by the Indian Institute of Astrophysics. It is expected to promote astrotourism in the region. Page 253. It is not the end, my friend. This might be the last page of the book, but it is certainly not the end of our curiosity. The title of this book not only drives our journey through the amazing world of science, but also defines what it means to be human. As a species, we are curious. We want to find out more about the world we live in and worlds beyond. By now, you have perhaps read a little bit about the world of plants and animals, done some fun activities, learned about how we measure, wondered about the stars that shine in the night sky, and so on. But remember, this is just the beginning. Science is a never-ending adventure with new discoveries coming up all the time. And as you progress through the middle stage, the things you come across will help you find out even more about the world around you. The key lies in that curiosity that you have nurtured throughout this journey. Keep observing the world around you, keep asking questions, and do not be afraid to experiment. Remember, even the most groundbreaking discoveries often begin with a simple why. There are countless questions waiting to be answered and countless answers waiting to be questioned. You, my young scientists, can find them out. So go forth and explore. And see you again in the next grade for more adventures in science. End of chapter 12.
Curiosity. You were just listening to this audiobook, Textbook of Science for Class 6. Narration Dr. Pranita Gopal. Technical coordination Bati Langlingdo. Sound recordist Virendra Rawat. Assistance in production Amarjeet Sarkar. Directed and produced by Vimlesh Chaudhary. This audiobook is brought to you by CIET NCERT, New Delhi, India.